Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police.
Okay,
that's one of the things that came out of these files.
They were best friends for about a decade. And remember, he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, congresswomen like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that.
Back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a clip that is making the rounds, and for good reason. The ladies over at The View recently sat down with the vice president, and let me tell you, they did not hold back. They held his feet to the fire, and the excuses he gave to defend the president. Phew. They are Olympic-level mental gymnastics. Before we get into this absolute masterclass in holding politicians accountable, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts as we watch. Trust me, you're going to have some opinions on this one. Let's roll the tape.
So, President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me. He's pouring money into this ballroom of his and the reflecting pool. Oh, don't forget the Arch de Trumpe, I call it. And a White House cage match. All these things. Why is he doing them when you just, everybody knows that Americans are struggling? What is he spending all this money for?
Well, I got to defend the...
Look at Joy coming right out of the gate with the receipts. I love this. She is pointing out the blazing hypocrisy here. The president is out here funding White House cage matches and treating the reflecting pool like his personal playground, all while everyday Americans are getting squeezed at the grocery store. If affordability is such a hoax, why are you spending taxpayer money or campaign funds like a reality TV star on a bender? Let's see how the VP tries to spin this one.
President on the hoax point. What the president said is the idea that Republicans caused the affordability problem is a hoax. And I think that's true. If you go back to the Biden administration, inflation got up to 9% under the Biden administration, okay? Right now it's at 3.5%. By the way, too high. We're doing everything that we can to bring it back down to 2.5%, which is where most people would like to see it. But we inherited an affordability problem. We're doing a lot to make it better. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot more work to do. But the president knows that a lot of Americans are struggling. In fact, he ran on that. He talked about it. And we've done some things and made some good progress on that point.
He just said he loves the...
Did you catch that pivot? That was a masterclass in dodging the actual question. The VP completely sidesteps the extravagant spending Joy just called out and immediately tries to play the blame the previous guy card. We inherited an affordability problem, he says. Okay, but that doesn't explain why your boss is throwing massive, expensive spectacles instead of addressing the crisis. The disconnect from reality is staggering. It's like telling someone their house is on fire, and they respond by buying a brand new Ferrari to park in the driveway. The ladies aren't buying it, and neither are we. Let's keep watching, because it gets better.
The inflation.
What he said, Anna, what he said is that he loves the fact that the inflation is going to come down when this war is over. That's what he said.
That's not what he said.
That wasn't a direct... Are you his interpreter or are you his vice president? Come on.
Well, look. What the president said. People were asking about the inflation. They were asking about the affordability problem, which again is very real. And what he said is, "I love the inflation because it's going to come down when the war is over." And now, again, we already see gas prices today, $4.06 a gallon, too high, but way down from where they were just a couple of weeks ago. So there's a lot we got to do, but I think that we're doing as much as we can. We're going to keep on working at it. And again, the American people are going to make their verdict, but I think that we have a very credible case to run on, that we brought a lot of new investment. We're building the factories. That is going to pay serious dividends for the American people over the long haul.
When?
Well, Joy, if you look at manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, okay.
those jobs are increasing at a large number. Construction jobs are doing a little bit better. So what happens is the construction jobs to build the factories, and then the manufacturing workers go back to work. That also leads to rising wages. That's one of the things that I'm very proud of, is if you look at the amount that wages are going up now compared to, say, 2022, they're going up way faster. That's a good thing. You know, the affordability problem. Again, gas, way too high right now. Certain things way too high. You know, rents have been either flat or down for 12 months now. So there are things that are showing signs of life, things that are showing signs of progress. My view, I'm sure you guys don't agree with it, is that we inherited a mess and we're fixing it. But sometimes it takes a long time to fix a mess.
Sunny.
Okay.
I've seen emails.
Sunny Hostin entered the chat, and she brought the facts. The VP actually sat there with a straight face and tried to rewrite history, acting like the president and Jeffrey Epstein were mortal enemies. He reported him to the police, he says. Sunny wasn't having a bar of it. She instantly corrects the record. They were friends for a decade. You don't get to hang out with someone for 10 years, pose for photos, and then retroactively pretend you were an undercover detective trying to bring him down. The VP is really insulting our intelligence here. But watch what happens next, because Sunny is about to corner him on the missing documents.
Is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police.
Okay,
that's
but
one of the things that came out of these
They were
files.
best friends for about a decade. And remember, he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, congresswomen like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that. So
That's all true.
Wait. Stop. So, not only is the VP trying to paint the president as an anti-Epstein crusader, but Sunny just exposed that the president was allegedly strong-arming his own party, specifically women in Congress like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, to squash a transparency bill. If you have nothing to hide, why are you calling politicians into a situation room to pressure them into not releasing files? It reeks of a cover-up. And the VP's defense for this? Let's hear it, because I guarantee it's going to be weak.
Let me respond to that. So number one is, yes, Donald Trump, and he said this, he knew Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. He also threw Jeffrey Epstein out of his club when he found out he was a creep and reported him to the police. That's something that the media often misses when it reports this story. They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s, which the president himself admits. They ignore the fact that he narked on him to the police and led ultimately to JeffreyEpstein's downfall. To that point, Anna, you know the Republican Party. Well, it's one of the things that led to law enforcement investigation. But on the point that you made,
it was allegedly over a real estate deal that they got into a fight over.
But the email says
and
actually
they didn't just know each other. Let's just be truthful and transparent here. They didn't just know each other.
He's in a lot of
They were
pictures.
incredibly close friends.
he reported him to the police. That's what I'm saying. That is objective. That is objectively true. But Anna made another point that I think Whoopi, if I may, because Anna made a very important point. This question about did Donald Trump release these files only under duress from Republicans? And Anna, you know the Republican Party probably better than I do. The idea that Donald Trump runs around afraid of Republican congressmen as opposed to the other way around is kind of crazy.
What was the bipartisan, though? It was Republicans and Democrats.
But because the Republicans control the House and the Senate, particularly the Senate, you need the Republican sign-off. What the president did is, look, I will say this. Again, I was in there in the meetings. He was very frustrated that the Democrats were making this about him when he's like, look, I threw the guy out of my club. I am the guy who reported him to the police, or one of the people who reported him to the police. The president was frustrated about that, absolutely. But he eventually came to say, you know what?
Pause. He was frustrated. That is the excuse. The President of the United States tried to block a transparency bill regarding one of the most prolific criminals in modern history because his feelings were hurt, and he was frustrated. That is not how leadership works. And notice how he tries to wrap it up with a neat little bow. Oh, he eventually just said let's pass it. Yeah, after he allegedly failed to bully his own party into killing it.
Let's just get everything out there. Let's have this out in the public. And he actually called the senators. I was there. He called the senators and said, you know what? pass this bill, I'll sign it, and that was it.
Well, then let me follow up briefly. Let me follow up briefly.
Yes.
It sounds like you believed that there would be men in the files who would be held accountable, rightfully so. And the American people are with you on this. Why haven't we seen the release of over 2.5 million additional Epstein file documents? It seems like you are someone that is on the right side of history on this.
So we have.
And that is how you do journalism. Sonny just delivered the knockout punch. 2.5 million documents are still hidden, and the VP is sitting there stuttering about duplicates and court orders. If the president was the one who bravely reported Epstein to the police, as the VP just claimed 5 minutes ago, he should be the loudest voice in the room demanding every single one of those 2.5 million pages be published on the internet tomorrow. The hypocrisy is blinding, and the ladies on The View completely stripped away the spin to expose it.
Released, I think it's 6 million files or 6 million pages of documents. My understanding is that 2.5 million, Sonny. I'm going to check on this to make sure, but my understanding is that a lot of those are duplicates of things that have already been released.
So
We're not
release them, but
we're not holding anything back. Some of those things are like the courts have to order you to release them. So that was one thing that we confronted. You talk about this situation room meetings is, you know, there's a big bunch of files that existed, I think, in the Southern District of New York, or maybe it was some other jurisdiction. But we were like, we want to release these files, but you need the court approval in order to release the files. Sometimes we would apply to release the files, and the courts would say no. So those particular documents, I would need to actually know exactly what you're talking about.
3.5 million documents were released, and my understanding is 2.5 million have not been released.
Those may have been the ones that are under court too. I don't know what the documents you're talking about, but I'm telling you,
Let me go to break.
Sure.
Let me go.
Wow. You have to give it up to Joy, Sonny, and the rest of the panel. They did not let him breathe, they did not accept his prepackaged talking points, and they completely dismantled those silly, flimsy excuses. It is wild what politicians think they can get away with saying on live television. But I want to know what you guys think. Did you buy a single word the VP was saying? Let me know your thoughts on those missing 2.5 million documents down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please do me a massive favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more sharp commentary, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.